This is Ben Dragon with the Sword of Metatron. Today we're talking about political activism, all these different political groups, the LGBTQ movement, feminism, Black Lives Matter. You could even lump MGTOW, men going their own way, in there, although they're not really doing much. In the past, you had the KKK. All these different groups. What are they? Why are they? And what's the actual consequences of what they're doing? So, all these groups feel like they're the victim in some way, shape, or form, and that they're basically joining together to fight for more power because they feel like they've all been marginalized in their own way, and they want some form of compensation or more recognition or just more political power in general, a greater, easier ability to get from point A to B. Now, what all these groups don't realize is that fundamentally they're all doing the same exact thing, which is linking up with other like-minded people or people who have gone through a similar struggle, or just people who look like you, but other people who are like you, to form a gang to compete with all the other gangs in the world for more power, to get a greater slice of the American pie. Basically, you're all just fighting with each other over scraps within the confines of the system. Let me say that again. All these different political activist groups are all fighting with each other over scraps, all within the confines of the same system, which is why collectively we're not really getting anywhere. All these groups actually play into the conquer and divide strategy the elite are deploying. The Black Lives Matter movement was funded by George Soros, who's a white billionaire. And then the lady that ran it, Candace something, I forgot her last name, she ended up pocketing millions of dollars with it and buying real estate. So the whole thing's a scam. What have you guys actually accomplished? You got maybe a few corrupt police officers behind bars just so the police organizations can save face. Last time I checked, the police are still running the streets, locking people up every day. So what'd you guys really accomplish? The feminist movement. What have you guys really accomplished except creating more war between the genders? Creating more discord between the genders, right? A lot of men don't even want to be with a feminist woman because they just don't want to hear about it. It's like, I'm just saying, you guys already got pretty much all the rights. The only thing that's not even is the pay structure. Only in some cases. Sometimes it is even. Sometimes it even works in your benefit to be a woman if you're doing something that gets tips, like being a waitress or a stripper or anything where there's tips involved. Women tend to do better. So they don't like to acknowledge that side of the coin. But anyway, they also get a lot of their meals still paid for them and all that. So it's like they just want to cherry pick. Feminists want to cherry pick, like, I like these things about being a woman. I'll keep that, but you better treat me as equal in these other places, even though I'm still getting a benefit in other places, like claiming rape or the ability to psychologically manipulate men to a greater extent. So, I'm not really sure what more there is to complain about as a woman in a first world country in this era. In some ways, you actually have it easier, but I don't want to go too much into that. I'm not hating on feminists. I'm just saying that a lot of it is just angry energy that is fueling a divide between the sexes, which is creating divorce and basically a disharmonious environment for everyone involved, including the children. And that's the part I'm against. I'm not against women having equal rights, okay? Now, LGBTQ movement. That movement is dangerous because how are we just allowing trans people to be a thing in this society? Like, how is that actually looked at as okay? And how have they amassed the political power to force all these other people in the work environment or on stage or whatever public facility they're in to live in the same delusional reality that these trans people are trying to propagate. For example, you know, if you clearly look like a male, you got a beard and all that, but you're wearing a dress and you demand to be called she, why should I have to honor that when you're lying? You are lying. You're a liar. So why should I have to go along with your lie with you? Wouldn't that make me weak and corrupt to go along with that lie with you? I'm just saying. Not to mention what this does to the children. I mean, there's the gay ABC's book out now. They're putting homosexuality in all these kid shows. They're making it like cool to be trans and non-binary and invent all these weird genders and putting this in the minds of children. You know, this is obviously going to have long-term destructive consequences for society. I'm just saying, like, why are we allowing this? Seriously, guys. Like, what? Why are we just going along with this delusion? Not to mention, put a couple of homosexuals together and allow them to adopt children. Can you imagine how much that would corrupt the child's psychology growing up to have two moms or two dads? I'm not talking about a step parent. I'm saying you only have two dads or you only have two moms. Like, how is this normalized? How are you guys allowed to have kids? This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. It's very short-sighted. It's very selfish. It's very delusional. It's a virus. It's actually a mental virus. Now, being homosexual, I'm not saying that we should be mean toward them or not allow them to have certain jobs or whatever. What I am saying is that it's a form of energy imbalance or a form of disease, and I believe anything and everything can be cured. So I'm not saying we should go send them to pray the gay away at Christian camps or whatever. I'm just saying these people have an energy imbalance, and if we dedicated our minds to helping people heal on an energetic level, could heal from all kind of mental, psychological, physical disturbances. I mean, just go to a good shaman. You'll really see how deeply mind-fucked you've been by society. Take ayahuasca, take mushrooms, and really go on a good trip. You'll see exactly how mind-fucked you've been by society. You've got these spirits, these entities in you that cause imbalances in your energy field, and you got to purge them out of you. I'm speaking from experience. Now, back to the original thesis statement, all these political activism groups, LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter. By the way, one more thing about the LGBTQ movement, or not even that specifically, but the women's movement, the feminist movement. That was actually started by the elite for the very reasons that I've said. I made another short video about this previously on my channel, so you guys can check that out. But basically, it was designed to separate women from men and put women into the working force, so that way they can be more taxed, and also there's no one to watch the kids all day, so now the kids are in the hands of the state all day, which then allows them to be even more deeply programmed and causes a gender divide between the two genders. So now that's obviously going to cause a cascade of consequences, but it all goes back to divide and conquer, because we're stronger together. So that brings me back to my thesis statement, is that all these little groups, all these activism groups, Black Lives Matter, feminism, LGBTQ, even like men going their own way and all that, it's just a counter response to the feminist movement. It's like all of that is BS. We need to just come together and stop just fighting with each other over scraps within this system and actually create a new society together that does have true equality, that does have a healthy operating system at its core, does have balance between the gender, that does have, you know, men doing what they're energetically designed to do and women doing what they're energetically designed to do. That's going to make everyone happy and the whole system feel harmonious. You know, we don't have to allow GMOs and chemtrails and all this weird stuff in our society that's poisoning us. We don't have to allow the mental or physical viruses that are propagating in our new society. So that's what I'm saying. We should all come together, just stop these petty political wars that really have accomplished very little other than divide and conquer, which just benefits the elite. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. All these movements are benefiting the elite, and most of them have been started by the elite. So stop Stop getting bamboozled. Let's come together and form our own nation. All right? Ben Dragon out.